All right, welcome back to another Ozzstar's Today's Fun Project. Today it's water pump replacement time. So looks like this water pump on the '08 Highlander behind me has about 16 bolts that hold it in. So what we're going to need to do is remove some engine mount action, prop the engine up so we can get these bolts out, because these bolts here that hold this down are very tight to the frame rail and there isn't much space. So by propping the engine up, we get a little bit of an angle to get these bolts out. What's going on right now is the water pump's making a horrible noise. The pulley's also wobbling, and the belt's squeaking, of course, because the belt's pushing against the edge of the pulley. But anyway, I'll fire it up, let you guys hear what it sounds like. It's pretty ugly. I don't know how it'll sound on film, but you'll find out soon enough. There it is, '08 Highlander, and it sounds like the water pump's singing. You might not see it on camera, but I can see it. The pulley's actually wobbling back and forth. But before I pop the belt off, I did loosen the 4 bolts on the water pump pulley. It's easier now while there's tension on there, so that thing's not spinning all around. You can still get the bolts off, but it's just a little easier that way. Snugged them back up because I want to show you what's going on there. But first of all, the belt's fairly new. So what I do on the belt is, don't worry about this windshield. It's already been cracked. Not my fault. I put an arrow. So basically my arrow's pointing towards this right front fender. So I can put the belt on in the same direction. You want to do that just in case it's uniquely wearing it. It won't prematurely wear out. Anyway, let's go down below, show you what I found. So I removed this little cover here. There's 2 bolts right up in here, and then there's one back behind this piece. Get that out of your way so you can see what's going on. I don't believe I'll have to remove the crank pulley because the water pump is back here. So let me show you what's going on with this one. If I spin it, it's actually pretty smooth, but watch this part. You shouldn't be able to rock and roll your water pump like that. So those bearings are definitely shot. So after that coolant's drained out, I'm going to start taking some things out of my way. I'm going to remove the pulley for the tensioner here, then the idler, which is a little higher up. Just take those bolts out and get those out of the way. And then we'll get to the upper engine mount, remove that so that we can gently, I'm going to just go right here from the oil pan, put a little block of wood, some pressure on the jack on the edge here, and just lift it so we'll see how it moves. Hopefully it'll go up. I'm just going to bring it up a couple inches to start, 1.5 inches, see how it goes. And that beats busting out the cherry picker and start yanking that way, because I don't have that much room up here without getting the car outside, and it's cold as balls today, and I'm not working in the cold. So anyhow, let's get to the next step. All right, so next we want to get rid of this dog bone, the upper engine mount. Some people call it dog bone. I just call it a pain in the ass. I already got these bolts somewhat broke loose. Take this out. So you got 1 bolt back here. And then we got this one on the side. Just goes through here. Get that sucker out. It should pop out of there fairly simple. Okay, that's out. These bolts are different lengths, so don't get them mixed up. The one back here is a little shorter than the one up right through the center. So that's that. This should wiggle right out. If it doesn't, you can get yourself a little pry bar and make it go your way. Let's get that loose. There you go. That's what I do. If in doubt, pry it out. Okay, so that's out of the way. And I'll just stick these bolts right back in here so down the road I don't forget. And we'll put that off to the side. So with the dog bone out of the way, I want to get this little bracket out of the way so we can get this mount out. So I got a 14mm on this bolt back in here. I'm just going to break it loose. There we go. And then I'll get my little Harbor Freight electric ratchet on it. Let's bust these two. These are 12s back here. There's 2 nuts on this. Actually, got that loose. Okay. And let's zip them off real quick. Make a little more space. Don't lose your nuts. That makes for a long day. All right, got both nuts off. And let's get that 14 out of our way. That bolt. Out. Almost. Okay, so that's loose. And what I'll do is, there's a little washer on this bolt. So what I'm going to do is just pull that up, and then I'll thread these 2 nuts back on here. They're like, the end of these bolts have Torx. Looks like a Torx head or something. So just put these on here so you don't lose them. And I'll keep this bolt right through there, and we'll go put that in the collection of parts. Next, I'm going to loosen these 2 bolts on the mount with my hand ratchet. We could use a air gun, I guess, but I'm going to go DIY style here. So let's get those loose, and then we'll zip them out. Hold on to the bracket, you don't want it to fall. I did a review on this battery operated, what is this, the Earthquake XT ratchet. So I'll leave a link in the description down below if you're interested in this tool here. It saves a lot of time. There we go, almost there. And that's off, so you can leave this smaller bracket on. Not a problem. I'll leave those bolts in there to the parts pile. So I got my belt tensioner tool here onto the actual tensioner, which is right down there. Hopefully you can see that. 14 millimeter, and I'm going to pull that towards the front of the car because that's a left-hand thread. So I want to take it out. So I'm going to go clockwise and loosen this sucker up right here. That's good. Okay. And what I'll do is reach down in there, get that bolt out, and get the pulley off. Oh, she's a tight squeeze, Mama. She's a tight squeeze between this frame rail and my hand. I got just enough room to get 2 fingers in there and get the job done. Okay, I feel it's loose. Let's pull it all out without dropping too much stuff here, hopefully. Oh boy, it's tight. Okay, it's coming up. Get the 2-finger grip. Here it is here. All right. There she is. Right there. Very good. Let's see how this bearing sounds. Bolt comes out. There's a washer. Don't lose that washer. And let's spin this sucker and see how it sounds. It's making a little bit of noise. No play. I've heard worse and I've heard better, but that's that. I know you'll have a hard time seeing this, if anything, but we've got the tensioner pulley out of the way. Now I want to get the idler pulley out. So I'm just using my 14 millimeter socket again, going this time, turning the bolt out counterclockwise like most bolts go, you know, lefty loosey. And I'm gonna have to reach down in here and like a magic trick, in just a moment, I should have a pulley and a bolt in my hand. It'd be nice if the manufacturer just gave you like an extra inch. That's what she said. All right, here we go. It's loose. Oops, there goes the washer. And I'll get that in a second. Here's the idler pulley. Let's see how this sounds. This one's much tighter here. Let me put this down. It's not too bad, but we'll change it out. So just for the record, the idler has, let me show you this bolt. It has a thin washer on the outside, and this is that one that fell down. That's on the inside. So that's how that goes. Update time. So I took the 4 bolts. I was able to get them out of the pulley here, but what I noticed the problem is, now that I've got that out, this is sitting up against the frame rail, so I can't squeeze it out. So what I'll have to do is, when all the bolts come out of the water pump, take the whole unit, hopefully it'll come out, I don't know, I guess it's going to go through the top, and make sure that this is on the new one before we put the other new pump in. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. So here's what we got with the tensioner pulley out of the way. Let me get my hand out of the way. And the idler out of the way. We've got access to these bolts right here. And we've got access to these over here now. Doesn't look like the crank pulley's in the way. We can leave that. And I've just got to disconnect this mount. So I'm at the step now where I'm draining the antifreeze. I've got the radiator cap loose here. Open that up. Over here on the driver's side, I took the shield off. That's the shield down below. It's held on with about 12 of these little bolts, or 8 of them. You'll see them. Anyway, the petcock is located right where I plugged this little hose in. So just to help it drain a little better down in there, it's still running out. But anyway, it's peeing. That's the point. So that little petcock there has just a plastic. It's very tight to get to. I can't show it to you the way I can't film it. But you just turn that counterclockwise and it'll start to drain. Just make sure you close it after you're done draining so you don't waste your new stuff. And we will be refilling this with the Toyota stuff, the red stuff here. Make sure you use the red stuff with the red stuff. So I'm at the point now where I've got to remove this motor mount to get to that thermostat with those 6 bolts there. It's this one right here that I could not get out. I could actually get all of the other 5 out. Couldn't get the 6th one out, and then to get this bracket just wouldn't go. So I'm ready to start raising the engine. I'm going to remove this 19mm nut on the mount, but before that, I'll take my floor jack with a block of wood, go under the oil pan and just support it. And then I'm going back here. Hopefully you can see. No, you can't see it. Let's get the light. Right back there, I'm going to remove these 2 17mm bolts for this mount here. I guess you could remove that bolt if you wanted to where the rubber bushing is. But I'm just going to take those 2 17s out. Engine should be free and we can raise it up a little bit. Okay, so what I did here was remove the 3 bolts on this black part of the mount. I removed this nut here, but the mount was stuck to the actual, this bracket, stuck to the actual mount. So the engine should go up now. I'm going to start slowly jacking on it. And we'll raise it up a little bit. There it goes. Looks like it's coming up decent. Let's see where we're at. We're up about a 1/2 inch. Let me go up a little more. Nice and slow. All right, let me check some things here. Let's see where we're at. All right, we're about 1 inch now. So I'm going to go up top and see if I can't get this upper mount off now.